And that's very flexible and just give you some ideas. This shows, you know, the options for maybe some housing or other commercial buildings if that's what we fit. Again, these buildings that serve more as a screen as opposed to a landscape screen. So that would be a preference, you know, we decided that, hey, I'd rather look at the berm with trees on it, or I'd rather face more housing, for example. So that can serve as your buffer on that end. Parking in the center, again, similar walkways through the development that take you towards the overpass walk. Again, an interesting feature here to another gateway point. Each one's a little bit different. A lot of similarities to the first one. And like I mentioned, all of these can be married together. So if there's some component that you love it in one and not in the other, you know, that's why we hired Mark to get on the computer and swap things around.
What square footage are in the building? A lot different, a lot larger than one acre.
You know, again, we don't know square footage. I mean, these could be 2 stories and the same square footage of these that are 3.
Well, this is their first floor.
They'll have one of the footprints.
Different development, more like.
Probably more of our suburban looking development, block building, there's square.
Are there zoning guidelines for this kind of stuff that can be followed as certain height, as square footage, or some kind of like basic blueprint for that?
Well, you know, right now it's zoned single family, and which is the lowest intensity of the zoning categories. If a developer were to move in this kind of concept, you'd want to move forward with a planned development, so a zoning overlay, so that you can really ratchet down exactly what you want as far as landscaping, screening, buffering, building heights. You know, maybe it slopes back towards Alberta, so you don't have a lot of density on Alberta, but it increases in density as it goes towards Warren. Really, the PD allows a much more flexible approach that does provide more, the ability for more input and customization than just straight zoning.
So in other words, the developer comes in with enough money, you're going to sell it to suit them.
Well, it is a conversation like every other rezoning that takes place between the plan board, city commission, and the community.
I think there's a little difference here because this is the visioning discussion.
Right.
And in this case, I think there's an opportunity to talk about the vision and what you're thinking the vision ought to be. And you might even be thinking of the vision on a street-by-street or block-by-block basis. And the vision could be the appearance in the envelope of what we want there without knowing right now what the market can deliver. Because I'm not sure right now anybody really knows for sure what the market can deliver. But you should be conjuring up images in your heads of what you think the image of this looks like, because when the day is done, the vision or the image can drive the zoning and that technical envelope. So I think there's a little bit of a difference. This really is a vision conversation. And the vision here, when the day is done, should really drive whatever the zoning is. And the zoning then are the mechanics that helps get the vision in place.
I think the vision for a lot of people, obviously, green space, but we understand the point that there has to be some revenue, surely, to support the space. I think there's some give and take. I mean, I like a couple of them, but there's some give and take on any of them, I think. So, I think you're right. I think it's the point to start a discussion and find out where to go, but also, what does the city need out of that money-wise to support that piece of property? How many buildings can you do it without the residential in there in one of those plans? What's feasible? What's practical to the city to say, yeah, we can move this way without residential property, just have a few commercial on the front? What's your guidelines? Where do you guys stand? That's really important, I think, to find out, so that we don't push you don't push us. It's a conversation we get together and come up with a vision.
Right. So, the city has really no set parameters of what we have to get out of it. We don't own any of it. We are committed to honor an agreement with DMHA to buy the property from them, and that price is already set. But, you know, frankly, at the end of the day, it's really about what the market will bear rather than what the city wants or needs or desires to get out of it.
And I heard someone, I think it was you, mention housing, and you said not what was there. And I think that's another opportunity to not envision something that's behind you, but to envision something maybe completely different in front of you. Now, I, for example, think this is a huge Navy housing opportunity that's more on the market of Oregon for empty nesters, 20 or 30-somethings, and maybe it's a little bit different housing product than maybe the traditional detached single-family houses. Maybe they're attached urban townhomes. Maybe they're multi-story. Maybe they're single-story attached urban townhomes, an urban version of a patio home. You know, you can't. I know there are lots of folks that are moving out of single-family houses and patio homes, and there really aren't. There, I think, is very little inventory in Dayton for these attached townhomes. So I think you should also be thinking, as you're rolling through these ideas in your head, you ought to be thinking that. And there are really two pieces here. There's the infrastructure and circulation piece, and that's the armature that really sets the tone and the character of the streets. And then the second part of it is how do you fill up those other envelopes?
Start back here and one concern, has anybody talked to the Valley about what you're doing on the other half of Orange? There's a lot of traffic that's going to be dumping on Orange, so with buildings and retail and other chemicals coming in, traffic studies and one need to be addressed because we're going to have a couple hundred cars coming in off the corridor, a couple hundred coming in off the line street all going into Orange. This is something that's changed in our first meeting, so I wanted to throw that out so you know there's development on the opposite side of the street in case you guys don't share notes. And secondly, when we're talking about housing, I think what we as residents want to avoid is bringing in, well, just stereotypes there, but goodwill housing. Cliburn Manor started a development for elderly folks way back in the day, and it's turned into something really horrible. So I think we have to make choices now that folks who are over 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now will appreciate our wisdom and not just quickly putting a building up on grass because the first commercial developer came along and we had to catch it up. And I hope that at least we have the vision to take on a project that is beneficial to the neighborhood, not financially beneficial to the community as far as taxes. We certainly understand that, you know, this is within a neighborhood. Yes, it's right on Orange Street, but it's in a neighborhood and it's in a historic district as well as a historic district. We're very, very aware of that fact. You know, we have had discussions with Vine Valley about this. They've seen this. You know, they're on the same page with us, and you know, we do have the same concern we do as far as the traffic in and out of your neighborhood. Because you know, if I live in South Park, I would certainly feel the same.
Right. You know, the valley did take consideration to the homeowners on this side of the wire when they implemented their parking law. So I'm hoping at least we can see that those things that when this development and I bring that that's on the table. Granted, as we can, so there's a lot of traffic out going and coming on this line. And my understanding is the park will eventually be one lane turn in the middle at some point. So that's a lot of cars jumping into, you know, one way traffic without traffic studies getting stuck, you know.
My understanding though, to make up for that, though, Main Street is being widened.
Yeah, that's correct.
But if you build it, they will come. We're going to put in nice new parking shops and whatever, we're going to reduce traffic. You're not going to get it now.
Point.
Yeah. Talk about type of housing, and rehousing, it's very important to consider who are the right people to live in their profile and I really like, I'm going to say over the other two, the amount of green space and kind of line more with some of the info we had at the original meeting about conserving some of the park space. Additionally, looking at the new street there to the Burns Jackson Park, I appreciate your attempt to connect to the pedestrian bridge, but I think having a vehicular access through there over to Buckeye will bring traffic off the ground and take a shortcut to get over the lane and will in fact bring more cars into the neighborhood. And I don't see how that will affect the success of the commercial development. I would suggest rather than having a car road, having like a pedestrian bike trail from Buckeye and Burns over to the pedestrian bridge and kind of follow the path of the new road, but it's not a car road.
That's, I failed to mention this person, this is kind of right here.
But the other road troubles me because I can see people cutting from Warren over there onto Buckeye or just using it as a cut through, not really to access the neighborhood.
My reflection of all these things is how preserving a little bit more of the green space. I want to make sure that we're involved in the whole idea of more and around being kind of a pedestrian bikeway. Got more open to whatever the community. So I think that also option is that the person with green space that needs more than probably I think we also look a little bit in the development, hopefully holding some kind of disability receiving the hospital or anything, and without any kind of about what kind of development and further down the route, we have a lot of things. City, or one person have a place to live. If we could not see that, and maybe that's something that would definitely share with all the people.
I think that's a really good point. It's certainly not our intention to replicate what's already on our street. We're trying to fill the gap and again, what Aaron and John were saying, what the market can handle for that area.
Now, as you put those together, is A your favorite? Is that your favorite? I'm leaning that way as well. I'm just curious when you grew up, if it was your favorite.
Yeah, I think it's everybody. If everybody likes it, they're all.
We'd like to get rid of the residential small piece here, make more green space again. The green space is a big feature. I mean, that's a reason to be in that.
I personally love the idea of the boulevard. I think that's such a cool feature, and it's something that really makes that South Park stand out. That's one feature that people can, relate to. So I think that's cool, really cool feature. I also think the larger buffer is great. And people that are on this group now are used to seeing all that green space, and they like it, So we don't want to take that away either.
Yes, the last building there, as you turn on the Burns, that's kind of where the garden area is. It would be nice to get rid of that as well, keep the garden space and make it a little larger, and have some path through that area too. I think the garden is something everybody's starting to appreciate and like, so.
Personally, I don't want any commercial buildings outside my bedroom window. So if the commercial buildings were to the other side of the lot, that'd be open to it. And we were stuck with on the street.
They're all on
Yeah, that 50-foot border sounds pretty good, that berm you're going to put up. So we can see what's going on that side, keep our neighborhood a little quieter. Also concerned with who's going to maintain it, because we've seen construction going in this neighborhood that doesn't get maintained. Will it be private security?
That's all down the line that we'll have to, very good point, but it is something that we need to take notes on and remember as we continue these discussions once we have some developers that may be interested in the site. You've been very patient, yes.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with most people. I think the concept A is the strongest. I think E actually got some good things. I have a lot of concerns about E personally. When I look at that,